Welcome everybody to the new LiveWaves webinar session by our convert and retrama. The value of design, some keywords for an effective label, hosting Fabrizio Bernasconi, co-founder and CEO of the Italian design agency RBA Design. My name is Nicole Valle, business developer manager Italy and Germany for our convert retrama. RBA Design is an Italian design studio with over 25 years of experience. In a time in which communication tools leads for fragmentation, the studio brings brand design back to the central role of communication, strategic creative process. Today, Fabrizio will show us some of the most significant wine spirit projects, focusing on design key value, with authenticity, uniqueness, flexibility, accuracy, simplicity, and respect are relevant to takeaways for an effective label design. For any question, you may use the chat box, and we will try to answer to all of you at the end of the webinar. For all the questions left unanswered, we will contact you in a second time. For any kind of technical support or issue you may have during the webinar, our staff is at your disposal to give you the support you need. Simply write them using the chat box. The webinar is recorded and you will receive the video in a dedicated follow-up email. Please be advised that the webinar image may belong to third parties and can't be reproduced for any reason. And now I leave the floor to Fabrizio Bernasconi.
Thank you, Nicole. Good afternoon, everybody. And well, let me say it's a real pleasure and a privilege to be here sharing with you our experience in label design. So let me thank really our convert, Nicole and Anna, and for this invitation. At the opportunity to show some of our works, but at the same time, the chance to tell you how we work, leaving you some takeaways about design, some principles, some things to keep in mind when dealing with label design. Let me say some keywords. Well, not many, don't worry, they are just 6. We used to play with these keywords daily. Together with our clients, together with designers, together with suppliers. So who we are? Very shortly, let me introduce RBA Design. We were born 25 years ago, not me, I'm 59. We are 3 founding partners and about now 30 professionals. And we are proud to be independent, but mostly we are proud to be Milanese, from Milan, the capital of design, fashion, lifestyle, at least before the pandemic. Hope to be back very soon. Well, our business is branding, which means for us helping brands to be stronger. And that's the value of design. To be stronger by design. And we have the special core in the wine and spirit category. And this is what I'm going to show you today. But before looking at labels and before talking about some brand stories, let's spend a couple of minutes talking about design agencies. As Nicole told me that there are about 40% designers in this interesting and wide audience. I think it's a matter now for design agencies, for communication agencies as a whole, to recover the importance of how and why we do things in a certain way, rather than just what we do. It's the importance really of making. And this, I think, it's probably what makes the real difference among design agencies. You can call it method, you can call it process, you can call it making. I used to say that we don't sell graphics, labels, artworks, illustrations. We sell business solutions. We sell experiences, we sell stories, and we have to sell the value of design. Because the value of design, as it was in the title of this webinar, I think it's something very tangible, very concrete. And we can see, especially in the market, in the category most of us are working in, really the label design. You can imagine thousands of labels in the Italian market, thousands of labels in the Italian wine market, with practically no media spend versus other categories. And 60% more or less of consumers declare that their choice is made up on labels. 90% of their choice is subconsciously. So I think, and I've been thinking for 25 years, let me say, that good packaging can promote a fantastic level of interest in a product. It's the single most compelling vehicle a marketeer can connect with consumers. It's a 100% interaction with the package. Therefore, I used to say to my clients and internally that we have to consider ourselves real visual business manager. This is our attitude. We are focusing on solving problems. And how we do that? I think we do that by understanding client's business, first of all, by speaking its language, convincing them with experience, and constantly looking in our job to find the meaning of creativity. So, as I told you, I would like to talk with you about 6 keywords in label design, together with some projects, some proofs of our expertise. Well, 6 keywords, but can be even more, and it would be great if we can find maybe, if we can share together in the Q&A session that follow. 6 keywords and 6 stories. 6 Italian brand stories. Some of them for important global brands, some of them for small local wineries. It doesn't matter, because I think that label design is mainly about stories. We like to tell stories because I think that a good label is first of all about telling interesting stories. We love story as consumers do. We trust stories, we buy stories. But I think that stories for brands are particularly important because most of the time, a story represents exactly who you are. Starting from the past and looking at the future. And what the first story I would like to tell you about, the story of the most ancient, probably, brand still alive, most ancient Italian brand still alive, born in 1757. I'm talking about the story of Cinzano. Of course, stories has to be, well, for Cinzano, we supported a fantastic relaunch project. I will show you later on the work we have done for the vermouth and for the sparkling wines. I was saying that stories, in order to connect, to link the concept of stories to the fact that the story have to be real, credible, authentic, sustainable over time. The first word, the first keyword, the first concept is authenticity. Authenticity, to me, is the first and most important in branding and in brand building. It's a major trend. Authentic is a major trend, and not only for brands, because authenticity is a matter of people, is knowing who you are. And it's a key value. It's very popular now. I mean, I'm sure you have heard the question, how authentic is your company? How real? And now it's getting a very significant role because at the end, consumers more and more want to buy authentic products, credible products. What does it mean? In the food and wine, in the food and drink and beverage category, it means the consumers want to know where products come from. Because in a world where nobody knows where what we buy come from, knowing about provenance gets a special significant role. Authenticity means even something wider rather than provenance. It means mission, it means a reason to exist. So the first step to recover authenticity is going back to brand essence in order to be consistent and sustainable over years. Believe me, authenticity is not a movement, is not a fashion, because it deals with real and true things. And storytelling, by the way, because I started saying storytelling is so important for brands because the authentic, real essence of a brand depends mostly from its story. And consumers know that, and they appreciate that. And sometimes when you lose your identity, either because you are too big or you are, many years, or you try many things, but you have to go back to the brand essence to recover your story, to be authentic. And sometimes the package encapsulates the essence of the brand. I think it's a powerful business tool for the company. Well, go back to Cinzano. I would like to show you now a short video. Hopefully, let's see if it goes. Yeah. Okay, I reactivated the audio. Well, this video we created for the launch of the Cinzano Vermouth, and I presented at Museo del Risorgimento in Turin. Well, what kind of story we wanted to tell with the new identity of Cinzano. Cinzano, which is really a truly Italian fascinating story. This one begins in 1757 in Turin with two artisans, the Cinzano brothers, preparing spirits for the king and for the nobles. And this product will become later the world famous vermouth of Turin. It's a really authentic story with all the features of the Italian character. creativity, family, beauty, territory, what we call genius loci, handcrafted, courage, and entrepreneurship. It's a real an Italian character. And of course, it's a long story, but I don't want to bother you. I just want to say that we studied carefully the story of Cinzano visiting the archives and finding inspiration for our design. Let me say that we studied 260 years history in order to face the next 260 years with respect and courage. Let me go back to okay. Here we are. And and this we do for the vermouth, for example, to support with identity the global relaunch of the brand. We leverage on colors. You have seen from the video, I mean, how this red and blue were really the unmistakable asset for the brand. So we leverage on colors, the blue and the red, which has been during the 20th century, the real unmistakable visual asset, distinctive, authentic, recognizable. You could see them everywhere. And let me say everywhere in the world. As you see, even Freddie Mercury and all over from South America to the East. And walls, posters, bars, gadgets. It became really a visual synonymous of the brand. It became its flag. And back to the label, you can see we decided to create a label flag. You see the method, I mean, recovering the story and finding the strong and unmistakable visual asset. It was the blue and the red. And we decided to create a label like a flag, not closing the red and the blue in a logo, but enlarging, exploiting the two colors in a full label with a diagonal, a strong sign, very visible, recognizable, proud expression of Cinzano house. And if I see the red and the blue, I immediately recognize my favorite vermouth. Let's go to details. The logo, redesigned, flat, simple for a contemporary style. And the logo vermouth with a touch of vintage, of retro vintage. Then the storytelling, the heritage, the historical facts. Words are very, very important in packaging. At least 50% of consumers say that. So be careful about words in designing packaging. And the new bottle with embossing, giving quality, giving ownability. A new packaging, this one, a new packaging which embodies the essence of the brand Cinzano in an authentic way for the next global challenges. We did the same even for the sparkling wines. You see, up in this slide, we recover an old label 1850, dated 1850. We redesign it. We restyled in a contemporary way without losing tradition, giving colors. You see the caps, We redesigned the crest with the lion and the acronymous FC of Francesco Cinzano. Well, colors and simplicity for a timeless design, recovering from the past and looking at the future. So, summing up authenticity, it means recover the real essence of the brand and tell a nice story about it, leveraging on heritage. And this, believe me, can create a significant competitive advantage. And this is what branding is made for. Let's go to the second word. You can say, I mean, well, it can be banal, it's not. Probably how many times you have heard about uniqueness? I want something unique. Well, this is crucial. I think it's the meaning of branding. Or better, it's its task, which is at the end, how much to be different. Branding is about creating differences, nothing else. Accordingly, among different definition of branding and brand, to me, the most effective is really brand is the different. It's like a real estate. A brand has to own in your mind, I mean, and nobody can go in. Because branding is about recognition and identification, first of all, relevance and sustainability over time afterwards. And you can do that with a concept, with an idea, with identity, with communication. Find your own way, but be unique. The example I would like to propose you first is about a truly unique brand by the name of Aperol. This is a fantastic project we developed for a limited edition, a 100 Years of Joy. And why it's a fantastic project? Because it really matches technology and creativity. Technology and creativity, to me, is the real challenge for designers in the future. Well, Aperol is unique. It's definitely a unique aperitif. And unique are 2 million labels we created with this project, each one different from one other, created to celebrate the 100 years of joy for the most loved Italian aperitivo. Aperol was born in Venice in 1990. How we made it? It's a software. It's a software that randomly mixes for the first time 186 chromatic formulas, associating them with several elements of a figurative subject. It's not a simple subject. We are not talking about an abstract pattern. We are talking about a reinterpretation of one of the most loved illustrations by the Italian artist Lorenzo Mattotti in 1990, which portrays a young dancing couple holding the iconic bottle and 2 glasses full of our unique liquid, sorry. And this is an example with a video of all this combination, that the bottle and the glass that pivot around back to the label, the fixed element that the brand key color code brings to center stage, as opposed to the various combinations that turn around. with contrasting metallic and opaque effects for an additional touch of premiumness. Well, the association of the dye is casual, but all the same, it's guided by an algorithm that put together happy combinations only, thanks to a research on the color theory. So in order to produce positive vibes. Well, we worked very close with Eurostampa for that, a fantastic partner, which shared the most advanced technology to set up this ambitious project. The initiative is summarized by the 100 years logo with its joint zeros that recall the infinity symbol, as almost infinite are the different and unique labels that will celebrate this fantastic anniversary. There were a fantastic concert in Piazza San Marco, Venice, 1 year ago, really. I think that, by the way, limited edition, special edition, is a fantastic way to tell stories about the brand. Well, this is another example of uniqueness. In the mature market of gin, Ondina is a latecomer. But uniqueness starts from positioning, from the idea which stands behind the product. Most of the time I used to say that the real creatives are my clients. We are just interpreter. So Ondina is a gin inspired by the glamour and spirit of the coastal Italy in the 60s. It's a super premium Italian gin that embodies the spirit of La Dolce Vita, a refreshing and herbaceous gin that transports you to the sophisticated Italian Riviera. You can imagine the storytelling beyond that. It's not just the gin with a name. I mean, it was really starting from the product. So our goal is bringing to life the product idea, the spirit of the Italian Riviera bottle, through a distinctive, memorable, and refined packaging identity addressed to top bartenders and mixologists. We started from the bottle design, inspired by the traditional Italian white distillates like grappa, for example, with a contemporary twist and a stronger personality. Design, engineered, prototype, and follow-up from pencil sketches to the screen-printed glass, gilded in silver by a luxury glass maker. And then let's go to the cap. Every details are very important to communicate this premiumness of the product. A teacup debossed with the Ondina seal on the top, and an aluminium neck collar with the brand pattern enrich the bottle exactly with precious details. And what about the graphic design? I think it's very unique. All the gin are some of them are very minimalist now. And this is like a story, it's really an image. And it's built around the brand icon. La Signora staring at the sea with a scarf shaken of sunshine, shaken by the Mediterranean Sea, and tuned on the turquoise nuances of the Portofino Bay, with hints of sunshine reflecting on the water surface, which is, by the way, in metallic ink. The bottle combines several printing techniques, adding craftsmanship value to a masterfully blended small batch distilled liquid. The package as a whole, Ondina comes with its neck hanger, explaining the brand storytelling with a touch of grace. Well, the third word I would like to share with you is flexibility. And I don't know if flexibility is the right word in English. Maybe it's better to talk about the capacity to adapt, to be always recognizable, but different and interesting. And in terms of branding, probably we are talking about language rather than logos or packaging. It's really the brand language, but packaging is at the center, at the beginning. I will show you with this fantastic project. It's a pleasure for me to introduce the rebranding of Amaro Averna, which is a leader in the Amaro category, but most of all, it's a Sicilian icon. And we started from a new concept. Open Sicily, by the way, there is an extraordinary commercial on air. It's a way that makes Averna the real icon of authentic Sicilian culture and lifestyle. And we have started, as usual, from the brand values and the brand positioning, leveraging on some meaningful signs to create a visual language that is capable to sum up the whole Averna's word of reference, something that is as large, we said, as large as the island of Sicily, but as little as a Maiolica tile. And the tile is the label itself, as a losange. And all around, running around the borders of the tile, a frame of tone-su-tone decoration set the visual theme that would overcome the edges of paper and spread Averna's tag all over the world. Really our Maiolica BVI. Starting from the label, we have asked designers to create a set of tiles, 5 different subjects, each of them capturing a facet of the Sicilian polyhedric culture, nature, taste, and character, and finding a unique style to express it. You can see how from the label and then the set and the language, this is flexibility, adaptation, and that's really branding. This is our visual DNA, a chain of sign originated from Averna's homeland and marked on the bottom, that you will find each time you meet the Averna brand on whatever supports of application in the real world. You can see oops, here we are, oops. Yeah, I wanted to show you the couple of coasters at the bar, a gift box on the wine shop, an Instagram story on the smartphone, a frame of the TV commercial, well, everything. Averna leverages on traditional roots, the authentic art of Maiolica, to generate an original and personal way to communicate. And believe me, everything starts working with the package, with this unmistakable visual asset. Tiles are like letters of our alphabet that we can combine to compose words and sentences. A language that is no longer the old Sicilian dialect, sometimes hard to understand and definitely old-styled and old-fashioned. It's an unexpected take on Sicilian character, expressed by a new brand language that comes from one of the most authentic Sicilian icons, the tile. So really what I can suggest is to think really to make packaging an essential part of branding, recognizable, but always very flexible. Let's go now to the fourth word. Accuracy is definitely about design. Well, let me say that I've recently heard an interview on TV with a top soccer coach, by the way, from my favorite soccer team, Inter Milan, and who was saying that details at the top level make the difference. Well, I think that the same in design. Details make the difference. If you want to make design effective, communicating high quality, details in labels means finishing, materials, embossing, closures, artworkings, and accuracy means attention and care. And it has to be used in any phase of the design process, because we are artisan and we develop handcrafted products. Design is an obsessive research for the most effective detail. Accuracy is as important in the design phase than in the production phase, discovering new materials, new techniques, everything which can bring value to the packaging and therefore to the product itself. Two projects here about really details. This is the quintessential of really how we care of details. Starting with Glen Grant, we have the opportunity to work on this fantastic brand, single malt Scotch whiskey, very well known in Italy, by the way, thanks to the IDV, making a journey for 10 years toward the premiumness and brand building through the launch of a series of new variants, transforming the story of the Glen Grant distillery in Rose in different interesting story, launching a lot of products. Well, two special editions. This first one is a fantastic pack, fantastic edition by the name of Fyodor, which in Gaelic means wood, and it's produced in a few bottles from a cask dated 1972, containing just 20 liters of an extraordinary liquid. The display, as you can see, is handcrafted from an oak section, as to communicate through the wood rings that time is passing. Everything comes from an idea, of course. This concept is present on the glass bottle too, by embossing handily on any unique bottle the organic rings. These other projects for Glen Grant is to celebrate 50 years barrel, 50-year barrels. It was fantastic. I was present when it was just opened, and I didn't know what the product was. You know, that timing is the real value for whiskey. A 50 years reserve, just the barrel, just one barrel in the root distillery. The packaging shape comes from the idea of the tall, slender steels, typical in the distillery where the whiskey is distilled. We designed this just for 50 packages and sold in an exclusive channel for collectors, involving in this very, very complicated pack 7 different suppliers of the packaging chain. But you can see, and I think you can appreciate all the details, the 50 in gold embossing and the copper neck, the copper label closing the wood pack. Here we are. This is another interesting project. It's a special edition about accuracy. It's a special edition for the word famous bitter with a special taste due to the fact that it's aged in wood barrel. The new bottle comes from the Campari bottle with some details that make it more precious. At the color, for example, you can see it, the embossed color, and the signature on glass, and the tea cap. Well, finally, for accuracy, let me show you a wine label. A wine label is about this winery, very well known in Trento, and they wanted to communicate this special bond with the territory. And therefore, besides mountains and buildings, we thought that animals were really something typical, unique for the territory. So we found 9 animals typical from Trentino, and then we gave this project to one of the best illustrator by the name of Franco Testa. Unfortunately, he passed away, but it was fantastic. He was the illustrator for Herbolario. Most of you knows this fantastic. But I think the real, value for this label, beside the storytelling and the uniqueness of the animal, is the detail. I mean, you see the accuracy of this trait, and well, the 5th word can be a sort of, let me say, style. It's not. By the way, I think that packaging is the time capsule of our being. It has to keep up with changing consumer lifestyle. Sometimes looking at packagings, you can understand consumer attitude, needs, desire. So what about simplicity? Why it's so important now? Because we all live in an uncertain world. Consumers now mainly need to be reassured. Consumers love clarity. Authenticity is a clear example of that. And this is a big opportunity for brands to be recognizable, to be clear. So make it simple. As you speak with consumers, find your what we call UVAL, it's unmistakable visual assets. Those little signs or words that make you recognizable, immediately recognizable and understandable. They have to be strong, unique, impactful. Some of them are in branding. It's logo, it's colors, it's shape. And they are design related, of course. Well, some examples for simplicity. Some of our label design. This is a small winery in Friuli, and for Samali, the winery owned by the Ronchadin family. And this label has a minimal style. Its main or unique visual asset is a diagonal line which represents the plan of the winery, with the main road at the center, and on the right in gold, the area where the historical house is still located, 18th century. Well, this is, we developed this project many years ago. I saw that there was a little restyling now, but it maintained definitely its asset, its visual asset, which is the logo, the color, the minimalist side, to sign the top wine in the pyramid of this important winery from Trentino, which is Mezza Corona. A very interesting project we are still very proud to represent and to show. And this one is another example of wine, different, which face to consumers, and it's a painted bottle. We wanted to create for Maschio dei Cavalieri traditional Prosecco brand, sparkling wine. We wanted to create a special project for millennials, for young people. So it's just a matter of a typeface and a color, black and white, and a very modern minimalist typeface with a nice name. I am almost finished. Time is passing, but last but not least, let's talk about respect. I don't know if respect is about effectiveness. Definitely is about responsibility, which I think now it's even more important. Respect, in a way, is related to authenticity, respect versus values, respect versus stories. But in this case, we'd like to talk about respect versus our environment. And sometimes, as garbage is about 20% of pollution, sometimes I ask myself where RBA is a design agency or a garbage maker. This is to say that we all in this business, in this fantastic business of packaging, of design, have to think more and more about sustainability. Well, the case I would like to show you, and I'm very close to this, is about a little winery in Tuscany, near Saturnia, and which makes organic wine and oil. And well, definitely they do the right things in a good way. I like to start talking about La Magliosa, not proposing the brand, but proposing the making, because this is its real asset. This is what makes them unique. They are very, they care a lot about data, they care a lot about how they do things. I was saying what their uniqueness. The uniqueness for La Magliosa is that they created a method. They created a process for the production of grapes and natural wine. But the new thing is they patented it. So they registered it. And this is really unique. And so we had the idea together with the client to communicate it as it's really a uniqueness. So how to communicate a method? Most of the time, label talks about brand, but how to communicate a method. So we created a talking label. We created a talking label which explains about the method, which is composed by 8 principles, 8 clear principles, steps, how to do natural wine. And so we created a multi-subject label explaining about this method. This is really a talking label. In this case, I'm sure you have noticed, La Magliosa is a sort of endorser. It's not a presenter, it's an endorser, because the real brand, it's, in this case, the making. This was, yes, I think the last case, and I thank you very much, beside the fact that, well, it's much better to talk physically, but I thank you very much, and as we Italians say, salute. Well, salute in this period, it's particularly important. I used to say that keep thinking positive, but stay negative.
Thank you, Fabrizio, for this amazing presentation. And thank you also for the trip that we made together from Sicily to Trentino. And now we give just a small part of our webinar to Q&A session. So I choose one of the questions coming. So what is the biggest challenge for design agency?
Well, it's a nice question, because I think the biggest challenge for design agencies, for designers, is staying ahead with technology and being creative. So we have to have a major courage about design. We have to be irresistible for consumers, in a sense, very relevant. And for this, I think that we have to be more and more informed by clients and by suppliers. Cooperation is nowadays absolutely critical and very important. And talking. Clients have to, for example, I think that smart labeling, data, I think that consumers are really interested in that. But we have to, I mean, we designers, as I said before, we don't sell graphics. I mean, we have to sell business solutions, and that's very important.
That's true. I completely agree with you. Thank you. And also from our side, like Fedrigoni Group, every year is following and developing new material for all the market, the designer, and the consumer as well. So completely agree with you as well. So thank you, Fabrizio, to join us for this webinar. It was a pleasure to have you, and compliments also to all your guys in studio, and stay at home and be safe, of course. And I hope that we can see each other shortly. And that's a wrap for this year's LiveWaves webinar appointments. We would like to thank you all who registered and participate and support our work. We had more than 3,000 registrants among the 14 appointments of LiveWave series, and looking forward to welcome you on the next year's new webinar chapter. Follow us on our social profile for updates. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.